6:30. Audit and Finance Committee for January 25th. Before we get started, I'd like to welcome our new member, Mr. Signoracci, who is going to replace for Judge Mackey. And we look forward to good discussion with you, Mr. Signoracci. Thank you for being here.
Good, better, and different.
As long as we hear from you, that's all that counts.
I'm sure we will.
There you go, see? Motion to approve previous minutes.
So moved.
Mr. Signoracci, second from Mr. Miller. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous, thank you. Number 1, it's going to be tabled, request for sponsor. Number 2, 3, 4, and 5. Mindick, Mr. Mindick's not here, right? Current business, sheriff's up. He wants to amend his budget for Stop DWI Specialist. 100% funded through DWI fines. No cost to the county. It's just something we forgot to put in during the budget process. Any questions for the illustrious sheriff here tonight?
Yeah.
Mr. Grimm.
You have the fines that are imposed by the court. Where the fine money come from?
It comes back from the state of New York.
So
It's from all the town courts, city courts, whatever the case may be, wherever.
a pot of money that goes to your department.
And that's part of the Stop DWI plan that we talked about in the public safety meeting tonight, the $715,000.
Any other questions? Motion to move.
So moved.
Mr. Signoracci, second. Mr. Kraus, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you, Sheriff.
Take one pass down, please.
Number 7, amending the district attorney office budget. Crimes against revenue investigator, they want to add. All they're doing is taking an empty position, re-changing it and hiring someone to do investigating work on the crimes against revenue. New addition. Full-time position. Any questions? Motion to move. Mr. Signoracci, second.
Mr. Chairman, this is the paper
Yes,
we're just
Mr.
getting?
Grimm. I'm sorry?
We're just getting this paper. Can I look it over, please?
Absolutely. 1001, 1002.
Okay, it's revenue neutral? Right. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Signoracci, seconded by Mr. Miller. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you. Number 8, amending the public defender's budget, administrative adjustments. Hi, Steve. Mr. Herrick is here, Judge Herrick. These are all the changes and adjustments that we talked about during the budget process. Mr. Herrick was brand new at the time. He made some adjustments to his office that he wanted to make it so we can be more competitive in keeping and retaining attorneys and the people in his office and make it more pay equity with the other attorneys and departments in the county. Are there any questions? Mr. Signoracci.
I have a judge, quick question. Chief criminal investigator, I see for $90,000 in the budget. Is that a kind of a high salary for that position?
In Albany County, it's a high salary for that position. However, it's a parity issue as we see it with the district attorney's office. They have 5 full-time investigators, criminal investigators, 2 part-time, 1 chief criminal investigator. And in addition to that, they have every law enforcement agency in the county of Albany because the DA is the chief law enforcement officer in Albany County. And they have the assistance of state police, state agencies, federal agencies, including the DEA and the FBI. Right now, we have 1 person with the title of criminal investigator who is not a trained criminal investigator. He's basically a process server, does intake interviews, some client interviews, and we feel that at this time, going with a highly regarded, extremely able person who has a relationship with the law enforcement agencies in Albany County and upstate New York, that it would be the best way for our office to achieve parity.
Would you be better served with 2 to wind up achieving parity?
We've had discussions regarding 2, plus the person that is currently on board. However, it's our position at this time that the best way to approach this is as presented in the proposal.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Kraus.
Yes, Judge, thank you. 2 questions.
Is this a revenue neutral situation?
It's not revenue neutral.
It's budget neutral for this.
Budget
Oh,
neutral.
budget
Yes,
neutral.
yes,
It's budget neutral. And second, could you just reiterate a little bit on the retirement stabilization amount, 264,430, it's the last item?
Yes. I can do this for you, Mr. Kraus. That is the money that we set aside when we amortize. This year, we were lucky enough, fortunate enough to have enough cash in the bank to not amortize the retirement and not kick the can, so to speak, down the road. Our retirement bill is usually about 22 million, roughly. It's been consistently going up to this plateau of 22 million, with in between 800 and 1.4 million-ish a year that you can amortize, depending on the year, the situation, how the retirement system did. So since we didn't have to amortize, this personnel savings, that's a contra revenue or a contra appropriation account against that, that was the part that we
So
used
you're
there.
utilizing that because you didn't have to amortize?
Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Clay?
Just a question, Judge. You mentioned that the DA has a chief investigator. What is the salary for that?
It's around 70.
But that's not operationally, they're the person that handles the investigative arm of the DA is the director of operations. This person would act more of the director of operations, even though it has a chief investigator title. The title over at the DA is senior investigator. It's not exactly the same comparatively.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to actually make a motion to change the 90,000 and create two at 69,231 for criminal investigators, chief criminal investigators.
What we would do is amend this to create two, and I would say so that we can still have a chief, we can go back and look at it in 6 months to see if we can add the chief to it after we get the other three investigators up and running. How's that sound?
Question.
You're the boss.
Question.
I like the way you think. That's a motion to amend it by Mr. Signorachi, second.
Second.
Mr. Crochet, all in favor?
Discussion?
Discussion? He wanted Mr. Kraus to question.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, Mr.
Yes.
Kraus, I didn't see it.
Wouldn't that involve creating another civil service position?
I don't know if it's civil service.
They're all civil service,
They're all-
but it would involve creating another position.
Well, don't
We have funding there is funding in the budget for additional positions.
But shouldn't we create the position first before we fund it?
But by him making the motion, we would be creating it through the motion, and we'd go back to the controller's office and get the actual documentation for the position.
And I think it's well-intentioned. I'm hesitant because the judge really didn't indicate that he was asking for that. Am I correct?
Asking for
A second position.
the position that, there's two ways to approach this.
Okay.
And after discussion, I've been talking with the exec's office for well over a month on this issue, and our feeling is that the best way to approach this with what we have available to us now and what we foresee our needs are, is to have one highly regarded, highly qualified chief investigator working with what is a part-time position, the 30,000, plus the person who's there presently. And that's how we feel we would be best served at this point.
So to be clear, they're eliminating a $90,000 job and adding 269?
Yes.
269? So,
The parity with other investigators that they have.
but that wouldn't be revenue, wouldn't be budget neutral then?
No.
So we're raising the budget.
Well, this whole thing is an additional of 185,000,
The entire,
the whole package.
the reorganization, actually,
Well, actually, more than that.
yeah, it's
We
quite
have
a,
money we put aside.
There's 125,000
Yeah.
that is in the budget now that's been approved. So this is 108, as I understand it, 185 in addition.
It's 184, 786, and that's coming out of the personnel savings line that we have, service lines that we put aside for this during the process, the budget process.
But if we split it like that, would you be able to retain the services of the highly qualified individual that you are looking for to pay $90,000?
I wouldn't be able to answer that until I saw what the market was, but I believe that there I believe that there's a position, that a single position that could be filled by someone who is extremely highly qualified. I don't want to put a name to that.
Right, but at the $90,000 level or at the $69,000 level?
At the $90,000, a single position at the $90,000 is the position that we're presenting.
The chief investigator at the DA's office is at $70,000, right? I'm not talking
That's a
about
title,
I'm
but-
not
yes.
talking about the political director. But, you know, not political director, but, you know.
Director of Operations. Director of Operations.
Director of Operations.
They have a senior, not a chief over there, so it's, on parity, it's not the same civil service wise. I won't think so, or job description wise, excuse me.
At 69.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Chairman, to be clear, then we're adding to the budget when Judge Herrick is not asking us to. Is that correct?
We're adding to his budget.
I mean, that's the
We're not
motion.
adding to the overall budget.
The motion is
no.
add to the budget when the judge hasn't requested it. Is that, am I clear on the motion?
That is correct. I made a motion to add a second investigator line
I just want to be clear.
at 69,000. So instead of going up 184,000, it'll be going up a little more than 200,000.
Okay.
That'll be coming out of the personal savings,
Do we,
which was approved in the budget.
Yes, Mr. Graham.
how many employees do we have currently, and how many employees did we have under the previous, before the reorganization?
We have 25 attorneys. I think we're set for 28 or 9 attorneys. We're in the process of filling 3 vacancies. I haven't counted. I don't know what the total number of staff is, but it's approximately 30.
I believe, Mr. Graham, this would be the only position, the one Mr. Signoracci is promoting would be the only position that would be added to the actual number of employees in that department, if that's your question.
No, well, my question is, I'm trying to compare the previous level of employment versus today. Now, if it's budget neutral, are you saying there's more employees even though it's budget neutral?
It's not budget neutral. I don't know where.
The money's in the
The money's in
budget.
the
Money's in the
budget.
budget.
We put the monies in the budget of personal service line for things just like this. This might be one of many that come down the pike this year. That's in the budget. So it's not budget neutral by no means.
It's not budget neutral within the department.
But it's
if that's your question.
budgeted funds that have been budgeted to be able to, and appropriated to do these type of things to better organize the public defender's office.
So it's really just a question of whether we adopt Mr. Signoracci's suggestion or we go with what's originally been presented. Is that basically it?
Hey, I'm the new guy in the block. Throw me a little bit of love this evening.
And the other thing is that we can still do both. We can look at fixing this with giving the investigators now and coming back and looking at the chief level, because that's the question of 90 or 70. And then we have the funds available for that already budgeted and look at it at that time. That's what Mr. Signoracci's amendment would do.
Could you explain that again, please? Because it sounds to me like if you're going to put two positions in and not do as Judge Herrick is asking us to do, which is one highly qualified person, you're going to put 2 slightly less qualified people in. You just said that then it affords him the opportunity to come and ask again. How does that work?
Well, what'll happen is that once the investigators are on board, he can come in and we can add the chief investigator.
All right,
My
so
question,
You
our
wouldn't add it
question
now,
is,
but you would add it later possibly.
I don't know what
for
I
some
would
reason
do with
you
that.
don't mind.
I don't know what I would do with it at 70 or 90. I would do it now. Doesn't matter to me. We have the funds available. It's there.
There's a motion on the floor. Carol, want to get a second for this one?
Yes, Lucy.
I remember when we created the investigator's position in the DA's organization design, he couldn't find anybody in Albany County to be an investigator. He hired a guy out of Lorenzo there in New York. Are we going to have the same problem here with these investigators we're creating here? Are the people already here? We're just going to move them here?
I think we raised the salaries up
to attract.
since then.
Yeah,
Since we did those days.
attractive, right.
Okay, because last year David Soares couldn't, we approved the guy from Rensselaer to serve as one of his investigators.
These salaries are the same as the investigator in the DA's office. If, at 69, probably a couple thousand more. Real close.
I don't foresee any problem hiring qualified investigators at $69,000. And the person that we're looking for is above.
And this will stop so many of our guys going to jail if we can get investigators to bring forth better information, better evidence.
Right now,
to prove
in
this
order for us to conduct an investigation,
Yes.
we're hiring private investigators.
We're hiring privates.
Out of our expert funds.
Any other questions? It's been motioned by Mr. Signoracci, as amended, seconded by Mr. Touche. All in favor? Opposed?
No.
Mr. Graham, Mr. Kraus.
Respectfully opposed, sorry.
Thank you. Thank you.
So,
Then we vote on the budget as amended. A motion approved by Mr. Signoracci, second. Mr. Touche, all in favor? Opposed?
No.
Mr. Grimm, thank you. Thank you. Where are we at now? Number 9, an agreement with the New York State Parks for snowmobile trails, grooming and maintenance, $11,000 grant. State money. Any questions? Motion to move it. Mr. Signoracci, second. Mr. Miller, all in favor? Opposed? Unanimous, thank you. Number 10, authorize an agreement with the aerial imagery upgrades, and this is sharp. So they're gonna get detailed maps and pictures of my house now, right? Once they-
You already can, Gary.
I gotta know where I'm at. This is Big Brother doing his job. For $8,000, we have to put in there, so the state is our portion of the money's worth.
8,000's already in the...
It's already in there, appropriated. Any questions?
I have a question, yeah.
Yes, Mr. Grimm.
How is this money actually spent, on what? I mean, you say trail maintenance, but that
Oh,
means-
no, that was the previous one.
Oh, we're already past that one? Okay.
That's
pretty fast.
Maintenance.
We can tell you that. I have one of those in my neighborhood.
Any other questions? Motion to move it. Mr. Joyce, second. Mr. Signoracci, all in favor? Opposed? Unanimous, thank you. Number 11, amending the 2017 Department of Youth and Family Services overtime budget. 100% state money to fund this overtime. Any questions? Motion by Mr. Signoracci, second by Mr. Joyce. All in favor? Opposed? Unanimous, thank you. Number 12, authorizing an agreement with Metro Sales for vehicle replacement in 10 cars for $154,000. Any questions? Motion to move, Mr. Signoracci, second. Mr. Clay, all in favor? Opposed? Unanimous, thank you. Number 13, amending the Albany County budget, administrative adjustments. All these changes are just some things we had to change from the budget. They're all budget neutral. These are budget neutral, Mr. Grimm.
Okay.
So moved.
Any questions? A motion by Mr. Signoracci, second. Mr. Joyce, all in favor? Opposed? Unanimous, thank you. Number 14, cancellation of a chargeback at delinquent property taxes in Tanna County, $269. They couldn't find the owner.
What?
Any questions? Motion to move, Mr. Joyce, second, Mr. Signoracci. All in favor? Opposed? Unanimous. Number 15, authorizing the conveyance of real property in the town of Rensselaerville. This is for $1,000. This is a budding property owner, which is always good. Motion to move. Mr. Joyce, second, Mr. Signoracci. All in favor? Opposed? Unanimous, thank you. Number 16. Okay, we got a handout on this on the levies for co-hosts. It's in the back?
It's in the backup.
It's in the backup. These are the levies in the backup. Ready, we take a look at them?
Finance one?
Finance what?
Everybody got it?
Very back.
What
It's in
is
the
that?
back page, last page.
Last page on here.
These are
It's in your agenda.
unpaid water and sewer charges in the city of Cohoes.
That's personnel.
All right? Any questions?
I'm sorry.
Motion to move it. Mr. Signoracci, second. Mr. Touche, all in favor? Opposed? Unanimous, thank you. Number 17, amount of levies other charges for the city of Cohoes. Motion moved, Signarochi, second by Mr. Joyce, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Number 18, authorizing levies upon the city of Cohoes, properties needed for various purposes. Motion to move, Mr. Signarochi, second Mr. Joyce, all in favor? Opposed? Unanimous. Motion adjourned?
Mr. Chairman, if I might?
Yes.
Our Director of Research in the Minority Office is leaving, and this is his last meeting. And I want to pay tribute to Brian Best for his extraordinary service to the people of Albany County.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Joyce, this is